Hi, I'm Len. I'm a Chinese mom sharing quiet and real everyday life in China. This summer, before my son enters middle school, our family started a road trip to Yangshuo, a county under Guilin in southern China. We started packing at 8 in the morning. It was the middle of summer in China, and the weather was extremely hot. So we tried to keep everything as simple as possible. We did not even use suitcases. Most of our clothes were just packed in plastic bags. When we were finally almost done packing, we went back upstairs to check the room one more time. On the way, my husband joked about my son's slippers. These days, it feels like slippers have become the main shoes for many Chinese kids. Maybe it is just my feeling, but many kids today do not seem to care that much about dressing up or wearing certain brands. They just want to feel comfortable. If a pair of slippers feels good, they can wear them almost anywhere. As I went downstairs, our neighbor across the hall started chatting with me. She asked if we were going on a trip, and then asked where my son would go to middle school. In China, conversations between neighbors often start like this: simple, casual, and usually connected to children, school, or family life. My son had already climbed into the car because he could not wait to enjoy the air conditioning. My husband had finally finished packing too. After he got in the car, he checked the time. It was 9:06. He said we should wait 2 more minutes because 9:08 was his lucky time to leave. Yes, Chinese people's love for the number 8 can appear in even the smallest parts of daily life. In Chinese, the word for 8 sounds similar to the word for becoming prosperous. So many people see it as a lucky number. Today, our destination was about 600 kilometers away from the city where we live. With highway driving and breaks at service areas, it would take almost 8 hours to get Yangshuo. My husband had already planned where we would stop to rest and where we would go to swap the battery for our electric car. I usually do not worry about these map-related details because my husband handles them much better than I do. My husband and I take road trips during off-peak times every year. Before my son turned 6, he always came with us. But after he started primary school, he usually had to stay with my mother and go to school, unless it was during winter or summer vacation. About 2 hours later, we stopped at Shishi Highway Service Area to use the restroom, take a short break, and let me take over the driving. It was already summer vacation, but surprisingly, there were not many people there. This year, China has had quite a few extreme weather events, and I felt that summer travel might have been affected a little. After a short break, we continued our journey. The sky above us was blue with fluffy white clouds, but the forecast said it would be raining in the next city. So we decided to find a nearby battery swap station and get a fresh battery before driving on. The whole process was incredibly smart and efficient. We didn't even need to get out of the car, and the battery was replaced in just 3 minutes. Before we knew it, we had been on the highway for another 2 hours. A few years ago, before electric cars and driver assistance features became common, we would start feeling tired after just 100 kilometers. And driving 300 to 400 kilometers felt like a full day on the road. Now, with entertainment screens, massage seats, and driver assistance. Even 600 km doesn't feel nearly as difficult. By then, it was almost 2 p.m., so we stopped at Jushan service area for a quick lunch. After parking, my husband took some bread and a watermelon from the cooler in the trunk. Before we could even carry everything over to the seating area, my son grabbed a piece of bread to fill his stomach. He was clearly very hungry. Even though he was hungry himself, my son didn't forget about Fusk waiting in the car. He carried him into the service area, fed him some dog food, and took him for a little walk, so he could stretch his legs after the long ride. Meanwhile, my husband had already carried the watermelon over to a table and went to wash the fruit knife before cutting it. There was an adorable baby sitting nearby, and my son couldn't stop wondering how old she was. My husband quickly cut the watermelon into neat slices. In the summer heat, nothing could have been more refreshing. He then offered 2 slices to the people sitting across from us, so they could enjoy some too. Fuqi loves watermelon too, so I gave him a tiny bite. But only a little, because it was still quite cold from the cooler. My son's instant noodles were almost ready. Instant noodles are his favorite thing to eat whenever we stop at a highway service area. In China, highway service areas and airports provide free places to rest, free restrooms, and both hot and cold drinking water, which is incredibly convenient. Many service areas also have a free driver's home, with lounges, charging, Wi-Fi, and showers for long-haul truckers who sleep in their trucks. My husband and I only discovered this thoughtful service when we once spent the night at a service area during a road trip. After lunch, we continued our journey. But heavy rain soon began falling along the highway. Sudden downpours have recently caused serious flooding in many parts of China, so I couldn't help worrying about the rest of our trip. We had come to Yangshuo mainly so our son could experience adventurous outdoor activities, including rock climbing and cave exploring, and days of rain could easily disrupt those plans. This was my husband's 3rd visit and my 2nd. Although Yangshuo is small, its mountains and rivers have made it one of China's best known rock climbing destinations. Having experienced it ourselves, we hoped our son could also step outside his usual routine, challenge himself, and discover the excitement of being outdoors. As we finally enter Yangshuo County, the rain gradually stopped. The navigation showed that we would reach our hotel around 5 p.m., and I could finally breathe a sigh of relief. As we drove through town, ordinary shops and low-rise buildings lined the streets, while green karst peaks rose just behind them and appeared at nearly every turn. This unique mix of everyday life and nature lifted my mood and made me look forward to the days ahead. At the end of a narrow lane lined with local homes was the guest house we had booked. Since Futi was traveling with us and most chain hotels do not accept pets, we decided to stay somewhere more local. We also wanted our son to experience a simpler way of traveling, So we chose an affordable guest house that offered good value for money. The owner welcomed us warmly. The guest house was actually a 5-story residential house, with the second through fifth floors converted into guest rooms. Can you guess how much our room cost? Even during the peak summer season, it was only 80 yuan a night, about $12. The room was simple, but had everything we needed, including a private bathroom and air conditioning. It wasn't luxurious, but it was practical, affordable, and exactly what we needed for this trip. After settling into our room, we decided to head downstairs, walk around the neighborhood, and find something to eat. After spending most of the day in the car, it felt good to stretch our legs and finally explore Yangshuo at a slower pace. Near the residential buildings, a large tree beside an old house caught my attention. It was covered with small yellow fruits called wanpi or huangpi in Chinese, the same fruit commonly sold in fruit shops here. My husband picked a few and handed them to me to try. They tasted both sweet and tart. As evening fell, we came across a busy roadside stall selling Chinese cold dishes, and many of the customers were locals. My husband went over and chose some of our favorites, including chicken feet, tofu skin, and braised beef. Everything looked fresh and appetizing, and the 3 women running the stall could barely keep up with all the orders. The whole box cost 81 yuan, around $12. One of the women packed everything into a box filled to the top. The fresh scallions, garlic, vinegar, and other seasonings smelled so good that carrying it immediately made me feel hungry. My husband also stopped at the small shop next door to buy a can of beer, and then we headed back to the guest house, completely satisfied with our dinner. This was only the first day of our trip. We had not really started exploring Yangshuo yet, but this day already felt meaningful to me. A long highway drive, a few service area stops, a simple 80 yuan hotel, and a local food stall beside a market. None of these things were grand or perfect, but they were real parts of traveling together as a family. Maybe when my son grows older, he may not always want to travel with us like this. So I want to record these ordinary moments while I still can. In the next video, we will finally begin exploring Yangshuo. Stay happy and see you in the next video.